cash, I'm about my cash, I make it rain. I'm about my cash, I'm about my cash, I make it rain. I'm about my cash, I'm about my cash, I make it rain. I'm about my cash, I'm about my cash, I make it rain. I just wanna make some money with a big bag, only hundreds, while I sit back and I kick back with my little honey buns.
How's it going? Welcome, Julio.
Good, thank you.
Your boy Nice here, Fence Studios. This is season 4 of Ways to Get the Check. We're gonna change it up this season a little bit. We're gonna be diving deep into our community and meeting people from the community that are doing things. Because when people think about Ways to Get the Check, everybody, for the last couple episodes, the first 21, a lot of entrepreneurs are coming in and stuff like that. And I always like to emphasize that Ways to Get the Check could mean more than that. It's just ways to get it. Like the title says it itself. You do not have to have your own business. You could work at 8 to 5, do what you got to do. For example, being my guy right here, we're going to talk about him a little bit. We're going to interview and get to know him. He's part of the school committee for Greater Lawrence. Trust, he's working on big checks for the schools. So there's ways to get the check, even if it's a nonprofit and everything. But enough of that intro. Before we start off, I want to shout out Melvin. What's up, man? Lawrence High School senior and paid intern for Fence Studios. He's behind the cameras doing his magic. And we're going to get this show started right now. Welcome, Julio. How you doing?
Doing good.
Good. That's what's up. All right. This show, I'm all over the place. Some questions will be lining up. It'll be like from the beginning, and then all of a sudden we go back and forth. We're all over the place. Yeah. So before we even get started, youngest person to be elected out here?
Yep, the youngest school committee member elected in Lawrence's history.
Nice. Youngest school committee member to ever be elected. And how did this come about? Something about your background and motivation.
Yeah, no, of course. Well, I was born, raised here. Both of my parents are Dominican immigrants. I've been here my whole life. 2 years ago, I ran for the Greater Lawrence Tech School Committee in a race of, I believe, 6 of us. And 3 of us are elected to represent Lawrence, to represent the families of the Tech. We ran a great campaign. We had incredible support. Younger voices are being amplified in our communities, so which is very important. So it's good to see you here and having me here.
All right, that's awesome. And you said representing Lawrence, Greater Lawrence Tech. The committee represents Lawrence, Andover.
North Andover, Methuen.
Okay. That's what's up. Yeah. I used to work at Greater Lawrence in 2015 to 2018. Well, I used to coach football and wrestling. I call it work, but I wasn't there during the day, but I was there after school. It's still a job. It was a job. Yeah. It was a way to get a check. You feel me? Yeah. So what experiences in your life have shaped your views on education and its impact on the community that made you come out for this stuff?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in the public school system. I went to Lawrence Public Schools. I was a student at the Breen. I went to South Lawrence East.
Nice.
I went to the Gilmat. So I've been to the different schools through my elementary and middle school time. And after the public school system, I went to private school. So I went to Notre Dame Cristo Rey in Methuen.
Okay.
Was there for 4 years. And, our education system has shifted, statewide, especially in our communities. A lot of people talk about Lawrence Public Schools, being under state receivership, being under control of the state. But the way I've seen it is that we also have other districts in our state. We have other districts, and especially in the city of Lawrence. And one of them is Greater Lawrence Tech, which provides a lot of vocational education skills for kids to pursue a trade versus a 4-year college or 2-year college degree. Because you and I both know that college is not for everybody.
Correct.
I myself am a college student, so I'm going to Bentley University. I'm studying public policy there. But for the students that I represent and the families that I represent, a lot of the families come from countries and come from, Dominican Republic where
school wasn't it.
Yeah, school wasn't it, and it's all about the trade, construction, horticulture, landscaping, cosmetology for folks, and it's important. And the responsibility of the school committee is to make sure that we create the best conditions possible for the kids to get that education and to thrive beyond that. Because it's all about benefiting our communities and benefiting our economy. The kids that come out of there is all about that. It's all about making sure that we create those opportunities, make sure that they have everything they need, And that experience has shaped me. My family has gone to school there. My sister goes to school there. My younger brother. I have cousins there, and they're all enjoying their experience there. College is not for them. College wasn't for their parents, and they're just looking for what's best for themselves and their family. So,
yeah, no, that's cool. You mentioned that about the economy and stuff like that. Because when I go back and I think of my group of friends from middle school that went to Greater Lawrence, and I went to Lawrence High. I was considered the trader because, well, I didn't even get into Greater Lawrence. That's why I didn't go. So I wasn't a trader, my peoples. I didn't get in. But I'm happy that I didn't get in. That's a different story to get into because it shaped me to who I am today. But back to the economy stuff, my friends that from middle school that did go over there now have their own plumbing companies, their own construction companies, and one owns a hair salon, and another started over there. So that's a really thing, and it's very popular right now. There's more applications getting for the voc schools, the tech schools, than private schools like Central Catholic, St. John's. Like, it's almost harder to get into the schools right now. Yeah. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, what we've been working on ourselves as the school committee, so we're responsible also for the admissions policy. So what we're trying to do is really create a lot more equity and be more equitable in our process. There's a lot of kids that, kids make mistakes. I made mistakes as a kid. I've been in detention. I've been suspended. Yep. I've had friends that have been involved in the system, and are just looking for that opportunity to go to a tech school. So grades, attendance, discipline are all important factors. Statewide, and what we're trying to do locally to advocate statewide for all the other tech schools and ourselves is to expand our waiting list, shrink the waiting list in a sense, to welcome more students in. So opening more seats for kids, expanding the school. And while we're expanding the school for academic seats, we're also expanding opportunity for the trade. So we have a new aviation program that's coming along. Nice. In the next few months, we'll be getting a study done by the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. They're going to come down, and the Department of Education, as we're gonna implement this into the school curriculum. And that's going to expand so much opportunity, the aviation program. And that's in part of the work that our school committee and our past school committee members and future ones that are going to be responsible for holding that. So expanding that opportunity through the aviation program. We also have a medical program that we're looking to expand with a partnership that we're building with Lawrence General Hospital. Nice. And that's going to create more seats for students to come into the school, more students from Lawrence and from the different surrounding communities that we represent. So this issue of the waiting list is a statewide issue. Yeah. Like other districts are experiencing this. We ourselves are doing our best locally with the power that we have, and even with the struggles and trying to overcome that to, again, create those opportunities for especially the Latino folks here and our Lawrence folks that are just looking for that opportunity for vocational education.
Okay. No, yeah. No, so I'm in Lowell Public Schools right now, and all the kids are trying to get in over there. There's a lot of kids on the waiting list, so I understand that it is a statewide, nationwide issue right now. But like I said, that's where it's at. I do want to, this is for the people, ways to get the check. Think about this. Like you were saying, not everybody's for 4-year colleges, stuff like that, so you have the tech school. But why not teach trades to those kids that are Central Catholic, I Notre Dame, that are ready for 4-year colleges, just as a backup in case they can't? So try to put a program together out there, you plumbers, you construction workers, figure out how you could start teaching those kids trades after school, maybe program or something. Like, how they have the night program? Yep. That'd be pretty cool. That's a way to start a nonprofit or something like that. I don't know. That's just a thought I always had there. Yeah. So always thinking outside the box. That would be a pretty cool thing to bring trades into schools that are not tech schools. Yeah,
and actually, if I could add to that, the After Dark program has benefited a lot of Lawrence kids. Because you got the kids that go to Lawrence High School, they go to different schools, and after they have the opportunity to go and pursue that trade and graduate with a certificate from Greater Lawrence Tech for pursuing that effort. And those that are plumbers, that are construction workers, we're always looking for instructors. So if you look into it, there's a lot of roles available. Yep. And even in the After Dark program, whichever community you're from, we're always looking for the talent. And even in your own businesses, again, we are preparing the students for that success. We're preparing the students for your industry, for the American economy. And you're more than happy to take some of the kids that are looking for jobs right after graduation. There's a lot of kids looking for jobs right after they graduate, go to Lawrence Tech. So
no, that is true, and I agree with that. That comes to the next thing, community involvement. Andy, listen to what he just said. My boy Andy's been trying to become a teacher over there. He's always asking me, "Oh, what's the pay? What's this and this?" And I was like, "Listen, just go do it. Stop asking so many questions. Do it, and you find out while you're there." And that's just the type of person I am. I go in there and get things done. But community involvement. How important is community involvement in the decision-making process for the school committee?
Yeah. Community involvement is very important, and a lot of what I say, with whatever role you are as a parent, as a student, community member, concerned, and that applies to school committees and other governmental bodies. You got city council, you got other roles, and we have public participation. So in our meetings, we have public participation where folks could come in and express their concerns, share their information, share ideas. It is important that we collaborate as a community. Again, we got to remember that us as elected officials, we're elected by the people, and the people have a say in our decision-making process. They have the right to connect with our elected representatives, to connect with your school districts, and especially at the school committee level where it affects the day-to-day life of your kid, and it affects the day-to-day life of your family, because you're sending your kid to a school district that's trying to create that opportunity. And if you don't see that opportunity being created, if you don't see the success that you're told, or you just have those concerns that you want to express, the forum is open for the public. The school committee is open for the public, and we are the governing body of the district, so we are meant to be there to make those decisions. And wherever you go, and especially on the parent advisory councils, you got parent advisory councils, the PACs, you got the Tuvos councils in the Lawrence system, you got different ways to participate with your superintendent. You got coffee hours where you could engage with the students, after school activities, which is also important.
So with the coffee hours and the parent engagement and all that stuff, how is the turnouts? Are parents coming out there and you guys have a lot of participation, or is it hard, or you guys struggling to get people in?
Yeah. The issue with participation is everywhere, and especially with the advisory councils, with families being involved in the process of the school districts and their families, participating overall in student activities, school activities. And in part is because we got a lot of working class people in Lawrence. We got a lot of people that are working 12-hour shifts, 15-hour shifts. We have grandparents who are the caregivers of their kids because they don't have either of their parents present. So I understand that struggle. And people, what we try to do ourselves is, again, our school committee meetings are in the evening. So majority of the parents that are working class 9 to 5, 8 to 4 jobs are able to still make it. It's more of amplifying the message and the marketing and pushing out the message that you can be a part of the process. You could participate. For example, you could select your next superintendent. You could be in the process of selecting your principal. You could be a part of the parent advisory council. So it's just pushing that message out, and also being able to, work around times that work for families. If you're having a coffee hour, again, 9 in the morning, or, a virtual conference, the virtual conferences are easier. Whereas the in-person, some don't have access to transportation. Some don't have access to go to the school all the time.
Yep.
They got other obligations. So we try to be as flexible as we can and inclusive as we can to be able to have a wide array of options available.
And how do these meetings work? Because I know you guys said Lawrence, Andover, North Andover, Methuen. That's 4 different cities. Is it separate meetings or all at once?
Yeah, so we meet on a monthly basis. Okay. So all 7 members are elected through, again, democratic process. You got 3 members from Lawrence. You got 2 from Methuen, 1 from Andover, 1 from North Andover. And through our monthly meetings, we're making decisions about the budget. We're making decisions about policy, your superintendent. We're making decisions around the day-to-day operation of the school district, student activities. We're the ones that approve those after-school programs. We're the ones that approve those opportunities. And anything that has to be that's related to governance, we're responsible for. And through those 7 members, you have an opportunity to participate.
Okay, that's good. No, I just there's a lot of ways to think outside the box to get people in. Something cool is potlucks. The Hispanic families love to cook and bring food, so That you usually get a good turnout with that. And I mentioned that because I was recently, I think it was 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 the most. I was at the Lawrence Public Schools one, and the turnout was very, very low. And the turnout that was, I think there was only probably like 2 parents, because the rest of them was employees that are parents. So they are parents, but they were kind of there also because they're employees, so they know what's going on. And I don't know, I would love to see those numbers up and stuff like that. So just wondering how things got done over there, take notes, and probably pass it on to people from over here. And I don't know, just questioning, because that's something that I find very concerning, that really needs to be addressed. We need more people out there and involved, because a lot of people are quick to complain and say this, and that, but we need you guys to come out here and have your voices heard, and that's how things are going to happen. But so yeah, off that, future visions, what is your vision for the future of the education in Greater Lawrence?
Yeah, well, I'm running for re-election right now, and the focus is to get the job done. You know, I'm not there, again, to climb a ladder, to look for other opportunities outside of the tech. I ran for the tech because there was a need, and I'm trying to address that need. And in part of addressing that need is stronger leadership in the school district. So holding our superintendent accountable, holding the school district accountable is the most important, the top guy. We're always making sure that that person is accessible for our families, and that we are also creating those conditions for those families to have access. You know, expanding our programs, as I said when I ran, is our aviation program. You know, ensuring that process that started with previous school committee members and community support, and even through the families, that process goes seamlessly. And, you know, expanding the other opportunities around health careers. So we have a partnership with the Greater Lawrence Family Health Center. So making sure that we're strengthening that partnership, and also making sure that our athletic programs are accessible for the community. We have a lot of beautiful fields. We continue to develop, desarrollar the fields, and making sure that they are the state of the art and maintained and upkept for our students. Because that's what's going to create healthy lives. That's going to create good access for the community. We have an incredible soccer program that's taking advantage of one of the fields at the Tech, Beyond Soccer.
Oh, yeah.
That's expanding so much opportunity for kids. My 3 younger brothers are going to be in Beyond Soccer. They're going to be practicing there in their in-city league. So that's like an example of creating access for the community. And so my job is not finished. And I want to leave the district in a position where, you know, myself as a young person, we could leave it for the next young person that comes in and supports the decision-making process for their community.
Nice, I like that. And talking about the community and those people there, shout out to Coach Brendan. He goes in, I can't remember the name of his program right now, but he has a football training program. He's there all summer. Shout out to do you happen to know the athletic director's name?
Yes, Mike Nelson.
Shout out to Mike Nelson. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, straight to the camera, you're doing a great job at hiring and bringing the atmosphere over there with Stevie in basketball, Shayla in basketball, Juan in wrestling. Like, that's what you need, man. People from the community that grew up out here loving the sport and knowing what the sport did for them to come back and coach. Like, that's amazing, man. I need more places to connect with Mike Nelson. Yeah, and learn some stuff from him. Shout out to him.
Yeah, no, the athletic programs are great. I mean, the kids love it. You know, the baseball team is getting better. I've gotten to a couple of their practices, and they're doing good. And that's in part of keeping the kids off the street. You know, and especially at the tech school where, you know, we had a diverse population of kids, and making sure that, you know, after they leave the school, after we have fed them in breakfast and lunch and educate them and also put them through the trade, we're also making sure that they're staying off the street. We have a lot of programs in the community that kids don't know where to go for. There's a lot of access opportunities, even outside of Lawrence. And in part of my role, again, is access, but also the opportunities to keep those kids off the street and not get involved in the system and not go into places where it's going to tarnish their future.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
And sticking on the future, how do you guys see the role of technology evolving in schools right now with AI and media and everything? Because a big part of sports, high school sports right now, is the media. Like, you know, everybody wants those committed the committed. I'm going to this school and going to that, and congratulations and the highlights. That's what it's all about right now. How do you guys advance? Do you have any future plans for technology and stuff like that involving?
Yeah, and actually, what's interesting is we have a robotics program.
Okay.
And so a lot of our technology is state of the art, is newer to modern technology. And AI is an evolving tool. It's been shifting. It's been creating opportunity. It's also dangerous. And there's a good way to use it. And AI, for example, in the school district, what a lot of school districts are doing and what a lot of communities are doing is that they're implementing AI policies to make sure that we're safeguarding and protecting the kids and the families from accessing AI and exploring the AI tools and how to use them effectively, how to use them as best as you can. So obviously we want to take advantage of modern technology. You got a lot of what the government has done, the feds and the state in the past is to, build funding and give funding to the states, to the cities and the different school districts to really strengthen their technology and make sure that the kids, like our next generation right now, our generation, Gen Z, I mean, we're using Snapchat, we're using TikTok, we're using Instagram. Again, we're amplifying the kids that committed, those that are going to college, going to high school. And we want to make sure that we're amplifying. Again, the marketing is important, making sure that we're standing out, that our district is standing out, that our community is standing out, and that we are showing what the student success really means. If you see the arts on our streets, the incredible graffiti on Essex Street, the work that Essex Art Center does, Elevated Thought, what the school district does internally with technology, it's great. And technology is so important, and making sure that we're up to date to it so that we're meeting the needs of the economy, because it's all about preparing the kids. And once we've prepared the kids, they're coming out knowing more than we do and knowing more what others do. And that also creates more bridges of opportunities.
Yeah, that's true. Media is big, as you see right here behind the camera. We have Melvin on Lawrence High School senior. I'm trying to bring in different kids from the high schools. I've seen a few when I went to live stream the Greater Lawrence wrestling match. Students that I used to have. Oh, mister, how you been? I didn't know you the camera. So I got to get back out there and reach out to some more people, get them in here and stuff. Let's fast forward to some personal insights. What has been the most rewarding aspect of your time as a school committee member?
Yeah. Politics is interesting. I mean, personally myself. So I personally, wasn't all about politics, let's say 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I was all about, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to go to law school, and I'm going to come out, I'm going to be a lawyer. And I still think of it to this day. And, politics has really shifted the way that I see things. The people that I have met, the relationships that I have built with the community, it's all about those community relationships. And personally, I use it in my other role where I'm running a nonprofit on community organizing. So organizing communities of faith, labor, and community organizations around social and economic justice.
Nice.
And that's really the focus. And it's connected in a way. We're holding politicians accountable. You're holding me accountable to my job, to what you elected me to do. And also in my role as an ED at a nonprofit, whereas we're organizing communities to do just that, to hold people accountable, hold people like me accountable. And so personally, it has really shifted my views, especially after the presidential election. You have state elections, you got local elections, and politics is always changing. And it has shaped my life. My family's not always political. My dad's side of the family, in Dominican Republic, very passionate about politics. It's like their blood, and they use it every day. It's part of our conversations at Thanksgiving, our family parties, que la política, que this, what the president in the R is doing, what the president here is doing, what people are doing, and it's really it's rewarding. The experience is rewarding, and people might say it's not for everybody. If you are all about community service, if you're all about shaping your community and changing the direction that maybe your community is heading, maybe not so good, or just for the benefit of your family and the benefit of your kids and the communities that you are looking to represent. So it's really something that could change your life. It's something that we need right now. We need a lot more youth voices. We need a lot more younger people at the table. We need people like you to come into the room and speak up for the communities that we're looking to represent, because this community is just so unique. You don't see a community like Lawrence anywhere else in this country.
Nope.
And it's something that we should all be proud of. So,
amen. No, that's very true, man. And I like to ask that question, you know, and to talk about more about stuff that you have done. Sometimes we have so much on our plates, doing this, doing that, have to be over there. Our schedule's so busy that we kind of forget the love and what got us there and the roots. You know what I'm saying? So it's always good to mention those things and remind ourselves with those type of things. Are there any upcoming events or meetings that you would like to encourage our listeners to attend or something like that?
Yeah. I always encourage you to come to our monthly school committee meetings. Right now, we're having a lot of conversation around the aviation program, the health careers program. We also have our summer programs that are being launched. We also have adult development programs. So those that are interested in pursuing a trade, and you're in your 40s, you're in this country, your 30s, or even in your 20s, you went to high school at Lawrence High, you didn't get accepted to the tech, we have the adult development programs. Yep. We're going to have them in the summer, the fall, the winter, spring, all year round, and they're going to be accessible for the community. What we're trying to do is amplify that message, is that Greater Lawrence Tech is meant to create opportunities even for our oldest folks that are looking for a trade.
That's cool.
Meetings, go to your local city council meetings. Go to those meetings. Come and view what Nilson is doing for the community on the podcast. I invite the community to get involved. Right now is the time to get involved. You have a political climate that is just it's evolving every single day. It's changing around immigration, around education, our healthcare. Get involved. And even in your own programs, if you're involved in a program, if you're supporting the kids right now, don't give up on them. Don't give up on the community. This community has so much need, and because people have given up, and a lot of people that have changed, and we got a lot of outsiders coming in. We got folks that are moving out and in of Lawrence. It's a fluctuating situation. Is to stay connected, and love your kids, love your families, and do what you can to create opportunity. That's always what I'll continue saying, is amplifying voices and creating opportunities for those that need it most.
Nice. What day is your next meeting?
Our next meeting is April 25th.
What day does it land on? On
Tuesday night.
Tuesday night.
Yep.
All right, I'm just going to check the calendar, but I plan to be there or listening in. You guys stream it?
Yep, we live stream it.
All right,
publicly. Yeah.
I want to watch you in action, get in there and see what I can learn from you guys, and just listening in, see the difference from the ones in Lawrence and stuff like that, and see it going, because I see a lot of success happening over there. A lot of things needs to be fixed and changed, and that's what you guys are working towards. Like you said, the job is not done, but you got to start somewhere, and you guys definitely have started.
Yes.
I appreciate you coming in here. We could keep going for 2 more hours, but I'd like to keep the episodes nice and short so we can get engaged. You're always welcome back if you have any projects that you need to get out there and talk. You could always come back on Wednesdays, starting at this Wednesdays at 6 to 7. We'll be live on Facebook with different guests, going to different places in the community. I'm calling it Spotlighting the Community with Nilson. So I'll be going around the community, live streaming different things. That's why I asked what day does it land on, because if it would have been on Wednesday, that would have been perfect to go in there and live stream the meeting and go from there, even though you guys are already live streaming. But this just brings it to a different crowd that are not involved, that I'm trying to get involved and stuff like that. So I'm trying to shift the culture right here. And thank you again for coming.
Of course, thank you.
Doors are always open.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, brother.
Season 4, let's go.